G'day fellas, how you doing? It's Ben here. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to make a fleet list in Broadside Empires of Steel shipyards. Okay, so first of all, obviously this is Broadside Web. There you go. Now I'm doing this on one of the work iPads, but you can use your PC and you'll see exactly the same things. It's just easier for me to film with an iPad. Okay, so where is the shipyards in capitals? Da 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 da. And here we are, straight to the shipyards. As you can see, the French Navy and the Ottoman Navy have joined everybody else there. Currently, those things are inactive. You can go in and have a look at the ship classes, but there's no ability to order any of them because the Kickstarter hasn't finished yet at the point of this recording. Thanks to everybody who helped bring the French Navy and the Ottoman Navy to life. They are now part of the game. Okay, so the other thing is, of course, thank you to the people who backed Broadside Digital because this was a result of that. Broadside Shipyards is well, it was a commitment we made with Broadside Digital to make getting access to the ship cards and fleet organizations just so much easier. Alright, so first thing I want to talk about is functionality. There we go. So if you want to save your lists and print them and purchase ships directly from us, then you have to create an account. And you do that by hitting the login button and creating your personal account. Now, first of all, straight off the bat, we don't do anything with that information whatsoever. It just sits there on the internet with your password and your email address, just simply for the purposes of archiving all of your data. As I say, we don't do anything with it. But in order to get the functionality of the web page, apart from just browsing the ship cards and making lists that you can't save, you really do have to create an account. And it's very easy. Just hit log on, and then once you've logged in, it'll ask you if you want to create an account. It's very, very easy to do. Yeah, I encourage you to do that because you get the best functionality out of it. Now I'm going to log in. All done. All right, so we'll make a 600-point Japanese fleet. Alrighty, so straight off the bat, here we are into the builder. Now is the point where you have to make the decision about your flagship. It's very important, so if you choose your fleet to be led by a battleship, you can have battlecruisers and armored cruisers in your force. If you choose to have an armored cruiser as your force, so you're probably looking at something like a 400-point force, then battlecruisers and battleships are off the table. This is a decision we made because we want to, match or keep pace with how history works. So if you have a look at the Battle of the Falklands and Coronel, those are it's an armored cruiser force on the German side and a battle cruiser force on the British side. Yes, it wasn't a fair battle. Things like the reconnaissance, the first scouting group, or for the Germans, with Seydlitz and Moltkes and all that lot. That's predominantly a reconnaissance force, so its job was to go out and find the Royal Navy and then bring the battleships in to engage. So and we've just sort of mirrored that with the creations of the lists. If you're going to make a reconnaissance force, then choose battlecruisers. If you're going to make a sort of foreign service force, really, I think is probably the best way of describing an armored cruiser force. Mostly you would find those looking after colonies and looking after trade routes. But we think those are still very valid. And they're tons of fun too. Armored cruiser battles are tons of fun. But you want to keep those points to around 400 points aside. Give them a go. Like grab some armored cruisers and have an armored cruiser battle. It's tons of fun. Okay, but today we're going to concentrate on a battleship force and the Japanese. So I'm going to start with adding in Issei. Why? Because I like Issei. Alright, there you go. So straight off the bat you can see the Great Little App. It brings up the card itself so you can have a look at it. There's everything you need to know. Okay, so there's other stuff that's going on here. So what's happened here? It says must have more screening ships than battle squadron ships. Alright, so the first thing we'll have a look at here is that this is your battle squadron and your flagship has been chosen. Now, you have to have the most expensive ship in the fleet as your flagship. Um, it just makes sense. Um, it's just the way things were done. Alrighty, we will add in some armored cruisers. I like the Ibuki, I think they're fun. And we'll add in the Izumo. Alright, cool. Alright, so that alert has gone, which is great. There's a couple of things happening here. Let's focus on that. First things first, the flagship is the only ship that's currently in your battle squadron. There's the battle squadron. As it says straight there, flagship battleship is the Hyuga, and then the ships that will keep that safe from mines and from destroyers will be Ibuki and Izumo, and they are in a screening squadron. In this case, it's an armored cruiser squadron, and that is already a legal list because all of the red words have gone. Alright, something else I want to show you very, very quickly. I'm going to have to move the iPad though. There we go. So at the bottom of the screen, it started tallying our points. As you can see, it's chosen, well, it thinks that we're making a 600 point list because we're making more than 400 points. If I'd shown you earlier, it would have been sitting there at 0, 400. And if you don't exceed 400, it will stay there. So if you're making a 400 point list, it will then just count up to 400. As soon as you go over the 400 points like we have, it then clocks into the 600 point. If you go over the 600, it clocks into the 800. And all that's doing is showing you there are three types of lists. There's a 4, 6, and 800. It's the raiding squadron, battle squadron, and then the war fleet as per the rulebook. Alright, let's get back to what we're doing up here. Alright, so we have our flagship and we have some screening ships. So what I've gone for here with these armored cruisers is a little bit of help with ranged combat. So we've got some range band 12-inch guns. There's only 4 of them, but if you have a look at those magnificent 12-18s at the bottom there, 7 of them, then that's going to really help in keeping destroyers away from my big battleship. And it's got you know, a nice smattering of directed guns as well. So I can fire a broadside of 9, and I can also harass 2 different ships at the same time using the 12-inch guns and the 8-inch guns firing at separate targets. I can actually attack 3 different targets using this one ship because I can attack with the 12-18s as well. So that's the reason why I like this. Unfortunately, it's slow for an armored cruiser speed 5. It's not really fast enough, but that doesn't really matter too much. Izumo is pretty much a mirror of the other armored cruiser. It's got the ability to take on light cruisers, which is the job of an armored cruiser. It's a midfielder. It's meant to get out there and attack light cruisers and allow your destroyers to come in for the attack on enemy battleships. It's got a little bit of harassment with 4 10-inch guns. Not going to do too much in the way of damage, but it can add damage cards and it can add complications to enemy battleships that are maybe loose, especially considering I'm only running 1 battleship in my whole 600 points. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, so it's now light cruiser time. Alright. So light cruisers. I'm going to add in Tone. Now, I like this ship. First of all, it's speed 6. The armor's not so great, but it's got a lot of guns. It's got 8 guns, and it can bring those guns to bear on 2 different separate targets. The 12-18's probably not going to hurt too much in the way of light cruisers and destroyers at long range, but you know, most destroyers only have 2 hull points anyway. Alright, but yeah, so it's the speed on that one that matters. It's also got a max range 12 torpedo room, which I like, so it can shoot torpedoes all day. Alright, so that's Tona. Then we're going to have a look at adding in Chikuma. I'll get all 3 of these. Okay, so let's have a look at the Chikuma. Again, this one is a real diamond. I mean, look at it, speed 7. It's getting into the same speed of some of the destroyers. It's got those beautiful 12-18 light guns, broadside of 5, and it's got a torpedo room with max range 12 torpedoes. So I give it, torpedo run as its order, and it's shooting destroyers, attacking other light cruisers, and shooting a torpedo a turn. Very, very nice. Speed 7, fantastic as an interceptor, which is exactly what you want. You want to get to the enemy destroyers before they get to your battleship. Alrighty, so let's have a look at what we've got in the way of squadrons. So we've got a battle squadron. The battle squadron has one ship in it only, and that's the flagship. We have 2 screening squadrons, 1 armored cruiser squadron and 1 light cruiser squadron. And we can go down to the bottom of the screen. Zoom this in so you can see. 599 of 600 points. And that's how easy it is. Alright, so since we're already here, as you can see, I can save, I can purchase, I can print the list by itself, or I can print the cards by itself. I don't need to save this list, but I can. Let's have a look what happens. So first of all, we're going to get a list. So demo for the that's the list name, and I'm going to hit save. List saved. Little thing came up there saying that the list was saved. I've got tons and tons of lists, but let's have a look anyway at what it looks like. So you click on this at the top, lists and purchase orders. They're all my lists. There's quite a few of them. Okay, so that was a Japanese list, and there it is there. Demo. Yep, as you can see, the list that we just made is saved. I'll click on it, and it will bring it back up again. There it is again. All right, so let's do something different. This time we're going to print list. So I'm going to click the print list button, and there is your list. Well, our list, the list we just made together. It shows you quite clearly that you've got a battle squadron with 1 flagship in it, and then the screening ships. We've got an armored cruiser squadron and a light cruiser squadron. We have no support ships because we decided not to add any in, just for ease of building. Right, and then we want to get back to our list. We just hit the back button. The most important part, let's go to print cards. And there they are. Alright, all the cards that make up that 600 point list, all available to you just at the press of a button. Okay, and then, with your desktop printer, you just hit print on your screen, and then you have to organize the paper and the layout. I tend to print 4 cards per A4 page, but you can sort that out with your printer under the print options. One of them is multiple, I think, is the option that might get through Windows. Whatever it is you're using. I print 4 per page, and they're big enough to read, and that's how they come out, exactly as you see them here. Pretty nifty. Okay, well, I hope this has been useful to you. Have a bit of explore. There's some other cool stuff there. There's raiding craft, and there's coastal defense craft as well. We didn't muck around with destroyers or destroyer leaders, so if you think this was a worthwhile exercise, we can get into a more complicated list a bit later and talk about some of the other sort of special rules and why those ships are organized the way they are. Alright, I hope you learned something. Cheers for watching.